So we'll be kicking off this week again where we left last time on the 5th of August, I believe it was, and go through the markets we've been covering previously. And as always, if there's any time left, then I'll be happy to have a look at some of your charts if you want to share that with me or ask me any questions about my strategy and market geometry in general. Before we do get started, guys, just remember everything I show you here is my methodology, how I map out the markets, how I trade the markets, how I find ideas, and they do not in any circumstance constitute any trading advice. So if you, as always, also enjoy what you see here today and you would like to know a bit more about this strategy that I use, we have a lot of resources that will be available in a link in the chat box today. We have Nathan, my right-hand man from Price Action Income, also manning the chat box. Any questions you might have, then please drop it in there. And please also go check out that link. We've got a flash sale that will be happening for only today's session. I'll be giving massive discounts on my Exponential Profit System course, or the EPS for short, my newly developed market geometry toolbox that we specifically developed for MetaTrader and NinjaTrader, as well as specials on my trade forecast service for monthly and annual subscriptions. So if you're interested in this, please go have a look there at that link. It will be in the chat box. And as always, if you're new to this channel, like what you're seeing, please do not forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Okay. So where's the market since we last looked at things previously? Created the watch list of what we've been looking for. We were looking at the ES, the dollar index, gold, natural gas, crude oil, and today also have a new trade idea on the euro US dollar for you guys that like trading forex out there. Let's dive into the chart, guys. If you've watched my previous videos, I've got the standard pitchfork drawn from the October 2002 low, set on a monthly chart here. Quite a lot of data, historical data going backwards, to this high on the 1st of October 2007, to this low on 2nd of March 2009. Obviously, those won't be the exact highs and lows, but this is it to a monthly chart. So just use these anchor points, draw a standard pitchfork, and this gives you a specific angle, what I call the operational angle of a market. Clearly, a lot of people would be thinking, yeah, once price actually reaches some of these median lines, as they're called, you can expect a reversal. We had one here. I use it for a bit more than that. I quite often feel that just initial 3 anchor points that kick off a move or prior to a very strong move gives out a certain angle that will operate for a very long time into the future. So what I quite like doing, although price extended above these lines, I would copy and paste it and double up and go to the upside. Now, you'll see that although we've reached the outer boundary, had a little bit of a decline here on the ES back in, it was June 2015 until about February 2016. Then price went up again. We had what we call vibration, very volatile time. This was what we call an expanding triangle. Very clear to see vibration around an angular resistance area. Price went up, it found resistance, support, and subsequently moved higher. Extremely powerful bull run. Let me just zoom into this and show you a bit closer where we stand at the moment. Now, I've mentioned that price is very near to reaching this upper median line, or we'll just in this case call it a resistance or angular resistance line. It's around about the 4481 level. We've very nearly reached that. I want to go down to a daily quickly and show you that we almost reached that. If you guys can remember from my last live session, what was this, on the 5th, I was saying that we probably had another smaller A, B, C, D, E expanding triangle. And if you know anything about Elliott wave analysis, some people might not know this. You quite often find triangle formations as your penultimate correction prior to the end of a move. And if you obviously look at where price is at the moment, very near to this upper median line or resistance line. It's around about the 4481 level. Something else that I want to show you that I've recently drawn in there for my members is if I run a parallel channel to figure out the angle or slope of this massive bullish impulse, I've simply used, let me just zoom out a little bit, this high September 2020 to this high on the 10th of May, and price is currently approaching this upper band again. Now, people will tell me this is a very strange way to draw a channel line, but I have to say that this is not the purpose of drawing it as everyone always teaches you how to do it. The main thing is here, you want to find the angle of what this market's operating in. If even you look at the center line of this channel, you'll see support, 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 a little bit down, a little bit below, support, 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 and now we're reaching this upper area. Another interesting thing is if we were to Control C, Control V, i.e. copy and paste this and move that channel below this upper channel, then it gives us this low from where this bullish phase happened. Pretty much very near to the low that happened on the 23rd of March 2020. Now, also very interesting here is if we run a ray at the same angle or slope, you can quickly see that this angle is, in my opinion, the operating angle for support and resistance in this market. We can go and put that over that high over here. We had resistance, 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 resistance. So pretty cool to see. If price were to still head higher, I also want to draw in a quick pitchfork that I prepared. Let's just zoom back quickly and where I've drawn that from. And I do apologize, there's a lot of lines on here now. I drew this pitchfork actually on the monthly time frame using this low in December 2018 to this high in Feb 2020 to this low in March 2020 as well. Now you see this is not actually anchored properly to these lines, and that's because of what we call time frame displacement when performing market geometry. I actually performed this from a monthly time frame, and that would then anchor those points exactly on the highs and lows of those swings. So even though if price were to move even higher, let me go to a monthly just to show you. You see now it's anchored at those points. Those are 3 prior points to this massive bull run that started again in March 2020. Then I now have, and again apologize for all these lines, a time, or I would say time zone, sorry, that's the wrong word. Let me just get my drawing tool out, creates an area. Might look very wide, but just you have to remind you that price can within a month very easily move that sort of distance. So if you just look at these past bullish moves, we've had little to no pullbacks during these runs to the upside, especially when you view this from a monthly time frame. So I'm going to write in here the zone 4481 that I believe could be an area where we'll see a top in the S&P 500. 46, come on, let me just get that right. 4687, 85-ish, 46, let's make it 85. That I believe could mark a top in the S&P 500. Whether now this is a multi-year top, no one would know that, but I do think we are due for a pretty deep correction. And if we look at the weekly again, and let me just get rid of some of these lines again. I'm going to leave that rectangle there Let's take the parallel channel way, that Pitchfork, and this lower one over here. Then my lines in the sand to most likely call a top. That could probably be that it for this here would be if price breaks below the 4140 sort-ish level and the 4050 sort of level. So watch out within this area, guys. Now it is overshooting this upper line. It's not uncommon for that to happen. Obviously it's happened before, and then you see pullbacks. But I do think that at some stage, in my opinion, and this is obviously just my opinion, that we could retrace a decent, obviously where we think that top might be. And you would know that the top, in my opinion, would probably be in when price breaks these lines. Let's say it is from there. Then I think we got a very good probability of at least retracing back to the 0.382%. Fib retracement around the 3,600 level, or even lower, 3,400 and perhaps even the $3,000 level. So that's my view on the ES. Since we looked at it last week, it did continue higher. There was the expectation that did materialize, and now we're really at levels where I'll be careful being long, especially if you trade the indices. Okay, so if you got those numbers there, let's have a look at the next market, dollar index. Let's just go back to a daily chart. Open the screen a little bit. If you're new to this channel, guys, I do not think the dollar index has bottomed yet. I think what's happening right now is a correction. And i.e. price could move below this year's lows at some stage. Now, obviously, if you're dealing with what you think might be a correction, we use pitchforks in my line of work to figure out where such a correction might end, as well as trying to figure out what sort of correction you might be dealing with. Interesting is that this low in the beginning of or end of last year, beginning of this year, did not break below the Feb 2018 low. This high over here did not break above the high in Jan 2017. So this to me, I'm still viewing as a potential 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves as an A B wave correction, and potentially a 1, 2, 3, fourth wave correction with a fifth wave to follow lower that could potentially break these lows of this year. Let's just have a look at a close-up. Blow that up again. So I was working under the impression that we might be seeing some sort of an ABC complex W formation. If you're not familiar with corrective patterns from Elliott waves perspective, then they would run in 3 waves. I'm not going to go too much detail on that today. So, or you can just say an ABC. Either way, it means for me that we could probably still be challenging this high in March this year. I do have a zone here that lies between 93.60 to the 93.86-ish level. We could even go high to the 94, depending on which pitchfork this market's following, which I'm at the moment a little bit unclear about. This is why I made a zone that will incorporate either one of the settings that I'm using. We also have an original setting where price has already reached the center median line, and that center median line falls a little bit within that sort of zone there, where I expect a potential top to form and then see a decline. Now, the other question is, what are we seeing over here? This definitely looks still bullish in my opinion. We probably see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this might be an ABC, the second ABC to complete a double zigzag in my opinion. Or this could be just a 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth wave to complete this and then see another decline to the downside. So, that being said, the dollar index on a smaller pitchfork has already reached a center median line. We might see a few days of this moving lower or just running sideways. But if we do break above this, then I think there's a very good chance that we're going to test this high in March. And obviously, if the dollar index strengthens, then all other cross-currency pairs of trade versus the US dollar, like your majors, pound US dollar, euro US dollar, etc., will then weaken if the dollar index goes higher. But eventually I think they will recover, and obviously we'll have to see when price reach, or if or when price reaches this area. Okay. And that brings us to gold. Gold, very volatile. Something I told my members a while back is that we were tracking a potential ABC here. We had a channel running down. It caught this low. It made a double low, and price headed back upwards again. I still think that we're not done going down yet, but I think in the bigger scheme of things, that whatever happened here at this high on the 7th of August is in the bigger scheme of thing a third wave high. And now we're having a very long, drawn out, confusing and frustrating sort of up and down movement in gold. It's not a market I'm really interested in trading at the moment, because I think you're going to get washed out quite often if you're going to be targeting large swing trades. If you do have a shorter term trade strategy, then by all means you could attempt trading shorter term. But my opinion is that we probably had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe we're just correcting higher now and lower again, or some sort of other complex pattern. But whatever the case might be, I don't think we're done going down. This recent low you could probably view as a triple bottom with the, when was this? The 8th of March low, the 31st of March low, and now recently the 9th of August low. If price reaches this level again, I think we're going to break it. So a bit neutral here on gold. My long-term view, I would say long-term, I would say probably next few weeks, towards a month or maybe even 2, I think we can still see quite a bit of volatility in gold, and towards a sideways sort of move to the downside. So that's my opinion on gold. How are we doing for time? 20 past almost. Guys, I'm just going to go on for half an hour today. I have something to attend to afterwards, so I do apologize if I sound rushed, but I really need to go attend to something. Any case, natural gas, that was one of my previous trade ideas that I've mentioned. And I identified this zone with you guys, with my members as well, and price has now subsequently reversed from that zone, which is a typical way of how I perform my analysis. I would identify a potential reversal zone, whether it's in a bullish or a bearish market, and either using corrections, if you want to go in smaller time frames and trade that, try to find the end of corrections, identify a zone that price is moving towards and where you would expect a potential reversal to happen, and obviously before that happens. So this is a very good example of that. If you had a shorter term order of opinion that price might reverse from here, you could have been short. I've shown you guys this, and subsequently price did move lower. That being said, we had a 1, 2, 3, we had a small A, B, C, D, E, potentially a fourth wave with a fifth wave that ended. And that's just from this little run up to the upside. I still have a zone here that is at all these previous highs here. We had resistance, and finally price broke above it. If we get a break below the 375 to 380 zone, then I would say we got a strong top in place. Alternatively, and this is always in the back of the mind, I don't just accept that I only have one viewpoint. I need to have a backup plan B. My plan B is that this could just be a potential A, B, C, I expanded flat, and that we could go higher to make one more high. That's also in the back of my mind. So if this holds and we head back up higher, then I'll probably need to redraw some of my market geometry. We'll see that I've got a zone to the upside here, and that zone was actually a zone higher up in case we do break above this again. That also has a confluence of multiple market geometry lines. So for the time being, we did get a reversal there, which is great. Shows you the power of market geometry. But yeah, I'm just not that sure. This is for me the line in sand in natural gas. Break below that will probably tell me that we got a strong top in natural gas. Cool, guys. Crude oil. Similar thing, I don't know if you've been following the fundamental news. The major OPEC producers all agreed to increase output in August. We do have crude oil inventories, I believe, in an hour or so. I can't remember exactly what time it was. That'll be interesting to see if that effect of the increase in production has actually been taking effect or starting to take effect in the markets. What I'm following here, and this is also a zone that I identified quite a long time ago, prior to price reaching there, where we had a reversal from. We had a channel that contained price pulled back to this channel, made a move to the upside, and then failed to break did go a little bit above the center channel line that kept price in check for the longest period of time. Again, a lot of lines, I do apologize for that. And then price broke below the channel. I now have a new channel in there. Again, a weird way to draw a channel, but I want to show you how angular support and resistance work. If we use that same channel, copy and paste it to the upside, put it on this high over there, it gives us this low over there, give us those lows over there. So I'm looking at the operating angle of this market if we're still going to hit lower as bearish and probably an incomplete, although we also have a double bottom sort of looking move here. We had a move up. I identified a zone with my members, but price just reversed very quickly. We didn't manage to get into this. I even have an alert still set at that level, and price would have hit the targets that we already had to the downside, and this just happens sometimes. Price, it moved to an area where I believe we're going to get a reversal, and it fell a little bit short of that, and I can live with that. At least my directional bias was correct, and I read the market properly. So that's my opinion on crude oil. I still think we can move lower. And guys, before I take your question, that brings me to the euro US dollar. Why is that not loading now? Here we go. Let me just zoom out, open this chart up a little bit. I think the euro US dollar is going to head higher, but it's still correcting lower. We've not reached the low median line of a Pitchfork using the high in Jan 2021 till the low of this year, March 31st, to this lower high, lower low, lower high on the 24th of May. And now price is still moving lower. We might have a third wave low in, or we have a third wave, fourth wave with a fifth wave moving into the 1.1600 to 1.1665 sort of area, where I'll be looking for signs of a potential reversal to the upside. This one I would actually like to swing much higher and potentially even target these tops that were formed in Jan this year. Now, that being said, guys, there's more to than just making these zones. I do have special procedures that I have to follow. I do also use indicators that I'm obviously can't show you guys, giving you these live sessions. But again, if you're interested in this analysis, want to see how we trade these markets, then you're more than welcome to go check out those links there. And as always, we give 100% money back guarantee on everything that we offer. And if you do enjoy this, then please go check that out. I do think the euro US dollar, whether it be now or a grinding effect lower, or we're going up now and then down later from the zone, I'm going to be looking for taking long positions on euro US dollar for a long-term swing trade to the upside, which could potentially be massive. Right, guys, that's enough talking from me today. I'm going to just spend another 6 minutes, and then I really have to go, otherwise I'm going to be late for my appointment. We got some questions here from Bhavesh. Kindly analyze these pairs, AUD NZD and Swiss franc Japanese yen. I'll be more than happy to have a quick look at that for you. Very interesting here. Bhavesh, this is something I've been looking at with my students. This is actually a trade that we took here in 2018 to the downside, is that we identified one massive symmetrical triangle. This is a trade we got in here somewhere, trading this to the downside. And this is an AUD NZD. And this is a good example of where typically when you see prior to that, price has been coming down hard. All right. And this is a good example of where you get triangles, especially if they form over multiple years, as your penultimate correction prior to a low. Now, what is also interesting here is that since we've made this low, I've also noticed something else here where I think we probably have seen here some sort of an A, B, C, potentially a D, and then an E. We all of a sudden have a expanding triangle. And this might sound weird. It's still a little bit early to say this for sure. But we are at the moment what I call a center balancing point, and this happens in either expanding or contracting triangles. And we in that area right now. For me, there's nothing to do. We pulled back into that. I do think the Aussie Kiwi probably still hit lower, but we're at the central balancing point at the moment. You know, maybe what I'll do next week, if we have a little bit more time, is I'll actually write this down now for you, Bravesh, and see if I can do a little bit of deeper dive on the analysis side of things, and you know, just give you a bit of a better glimpse of where I think price might be heading to. But this is definitely something that I've known and been tracking for a while. A definite symmetrical triangle already played out, and a potential expanding triangle that's still underway. Let's quickly have a look at Swiss franc yen. How are we doing for time? 3 minutes. Okay. Let me just look at something. I'm going to see on my other screen if we do have something on that. Just bear with me, guys. Bear with me. Swiss franc yen. It's not really a market I trade, to be honest with you. I thought I was thinking about the CAD Swiss. Sorry. How much data do we have here? Quite a long range of data. Go back to a week. Here's another thing that I'll need to do proper analysis on. Generally, when I perform my analysis, it takes me anywhere from a few minutes to most likely a few hours. And then once I have these lines all set up on a very large time frame, like a weekly, I then know about these lines and make sure I don't trade into them. Let's just look at this prior 3 swings prior to this move to the upside. Let's get a pitchfork out again, magnet mode on. Again, just a rough analysis. I like to use Swiss shift pitchforks, and you can see that shift pitchfork worked really well. We might still be heading into this upper line around about the 123.40, 123.60, 124 region. That being said, let's get my ray out quick. Boom. And you see I didn't draw that 100% right with my magnets. We already reached an angle that tells me that this shift pitchfork is operating really well. It's got support here, a little bit of resistance there. Obviously I need to realign this properly because of the time constraints I have at the moment. So we might definitely still be heading higher. This does look like we have a 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. So higher highs, higher lows. If you break the 121 sort of level, I would say we've got a good chance of meeting back to these highs again. Right, guys, quickly I'll address the last question from Maizu. Richard, any advice on dealing with visual distortions of pitchforks in TradingView? Example, a pitchfork drawn on a 1 hour chart looks very distorted on the daily chart. I'm resigned the only viewing them in original time frame. Maizu, very good question. Firstly, I would perform my pitchforks like I did now. Let's say you go to a weekly, perform it on there. Then you can go to the anchor button, anchor button, this lock button, which means you can't move it around again. All right. Now that's on the weekly. Now, if we go to the daily time frame, you get that distortion, or what I call, what did I call it previously? I can't get to the name right now. That these anchor points aren't 100% right. That's fine. Just be aware of and make them different colors. Let's say you want to use a blue pitchfork, and that pitchfork is, your daily pitchfork. But anchor that pitchfork. Now, if you go down to, let's say, a 4 hour chart, in your case, you went down to 1 hour, then clearly you're going to have not hitting those perfect highs and lows on that channel, on using that pitchfork. So then when you do perform your 4 hour analysis, in this case, let's say you draw a pitchfork here, I would then, for example, color that, green. And obviously you want to enter from a smaller time frame as well. So that smaller time frame that you have, color that pitchfork something different, just so that you're aware of what these different colors represent. Yeah, it could be parallax, multiple time frame distortion. But no, these lines where they are, just keep that in consideration by locking it there. Do not go and change around now on a 4 hour. And now you're going to stick with your 4 hour, knowing where your weekly time frame, frame's pitchfork is. And if price heads back into an area, you create a zone and you wait for your reversals or whatever your signals might be to take a trade. Okay, so work top down, not the other way around. You don't want to use a 1 hour and then go to a daily. Work from high to low. All right, Mazio, hopefully that helped you. I'm really sorry, we need to cut it short here. If I don't get going within a minute, I'm going to be late for an appointment I really need to attend. As always, guys, I really hope you enjoyed today's session. Please attend next week's one, see where the markets are at. Thanks very much for listening. Again, have a look at that quick sale or flash sale link we have in the description if this is the type of analysis you'd like to know more about. And that's it for me today. We'll be back next week. Thank you very much for listening and keep safe out there. Until next time, have a good one. Goodbye.